right, just dropped my baby off, right? I want to talk about autism for a little bit, right? Just autism, being a parent or a child who has autism. Originally, El Paso drivers cannot drive. I swear to God, this is why. Okay. Originally, as I said in the last video, I didn't know what autism was. There was a whole lot of small little signs that kind of said something was off, but didn't really define something was wrong. I think, us as parents, especially if you're a first-time parent, this is my first time. This is my first child. I was like, okay, cool. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to look for. I don't know what's going on. Something ain't right. But I got the necessary help. And I think that with autism, the one thing I've learned is patience and routine. It was the patience that was the hardest for me. I'm not even going to hold you. It was the patience in the sense of when she was frustrated or overstimulated. You should have moments where she would express it. But it seemed as though she didn't talk. Her way of expressing it was, violent tantrums, doing things that were, off. And that caused me frustration because I didn't know how to fix the problems. I think every parent gets frustrated when your child is screaming and acting a certain way. You're like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to do everything I could possibly do. It got to a point where I'll have a checklist when she did scream. I said, okay, literally a checklist. It'll be diaper, all right, no diaper, all right, food, no food. You want to play? No, you don't want to play, so what is the matter? And I think a lot of the time what I've noticed too, what they struggle with a lot of the time with their social is being overwhelmed in environments. Crowded places, things that they're not really accustomed to, anything that breaks a routine. And that's why you see in my videos all the time, I make the same routine. I do my best to follow the same routine. Wake up, same exact way. We feed the cat, same exact way. She gets a bath time, same exact time. She gets all these things literally in a systematic order. And I live my life by that. So my life has to revolve around what's consistent in her life. I'll move things around just to make sure I don't break that schedule. Because when you break the routine, it causes my daughter, and apparently it causes a lot of autistic kids issues adjusting to new things. I think food too was a hard thing. It's like she'll eat the same thing over and over and over again. If you give her anything new, it'll be in the back of your car just collecting dust. Or she just won't eat it. It's gonna be in the back of your car collecting dust. So that's the same thing with me. She likes McDonald's, and I think I'm guilty for that. I hope that she'll never be overweight, but her DNA is strong because I've eaten McDonald's my whole life and I stayed skinny. So I think that she might have that habit. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but she's eating. So McDonald's, she likes spaghetti. She'll eat spaghetti forever. So certain things, that's the same thing. And I've noticed, like with autism, my boy has a 14-year-old son who has autism, and he's on the spectrum. I don't know if he's like a high 2 or something. I know he's not a 3, but he's up there. So I see the similarities between my daughter and his son. And I'm like, okay, cool. And what helped me a lot is, I've been in my boy's son's life his whole life. I've been, what do they call it? It's not a stepdad, it's a goddad or uncle, whatever you want to call me. So I got to see firsthand, I got the experience to deal or learn about autism without even really realizing what autism was for a long period of time. And I think when I added those two variables together, I think that's when it clicked. But if you're a parent who has an autistic child, I'm going to give you some advice, right? Routine, patience, understanding, and fun. Patience, routine, understanding, and fun. They kids, like every other kid, they just want to have fun. They feel safer in a routine. And patience, to help create that routine. I know a lot of the time for parents, it was hard for me to adjust and have a routine because my life is hectic. I'm a busy person, you know, between school, between work, between business endeavors, I don't even have no personal time. You know, can't scratch my ass for shit, but when you prioritize your kid first, everything else will kind of fall into place. So I pick and choose what I do based around my daughter. You know, I'd be like, yo, you want to come over here? It's like, I can't make it because that's 8 o'clock. You know, my daughter got to be asleep at 8. She got to take a bath by 7. But just try your best to be consistent. And if you think something's off with your child and you're here in Texas, something smells like gas, that doesn't give good vibes. Get them evaluated and give them a test. It'll be like a random test. There'll be a lady, they'll put you in a room, they'll give a whole bunch of toys, and then they'll figure out which toy gravitates to what, how they play with the toy. They try to get their attention, and then they'll start staring all over the place. Those are indicators. Or it could be something different. But get your child evaluated if, you know, you feel like something's wrong. Because every parent would know something ain't right. I knew, I just didn't know. I just kind of knew something was different. But, you know, it's a beautiful experience having an autistic child because they're so different. Like, she doesn't care about anything that's going on in the world. She cares about that moment. And I think that's what's important because she's fearless. You know, she has this, I'm going to jump off of things and, you know, dad's going to catch me. And I put that test, I put it to a theory. That's another thing about autistic kids is their fear tolerance is high. So that's what the ABA therapist told me. So I see how far she could jump. A good 20 feet off the ground, she's willing to jump into my arms. You know, a lot of kids at 2-3 years old, they ain't jumping those 20 feet to what they would think is they're deaf. So a lot of things like that. And they're a ball of fun. They just care about the moment. You know, that's what I love. And then with my boy's son, he don't care about other people and hurting their feelings. I love that. You know, he be like, Booby, you don't got no lip. The guy, no. And there's the pure honesty when it comes to kids, especially when it comes to autistic kids. And I think that's what makes it special. But let me just stop rambling. I'm just want to just talk about autism and autism awareness, I guess, if I want to call this that. But life for Booby.